Thanks for being here today. After I speak, you'll hear from, thank you, Council Chair Victoria Pedro, followed by CDC Utah CEO Todd Reeder, and Housing Navigator Dina Powell. And I'm so thankful that CDCU is hosting us here today at your recently renovated offices. When you move into a new house, you notice everything. We are noticing only the delightful parts of this. So we're here today because 1 year ago, Salt Lake City adopted Thriving in Place. We adopted Thriving in Place because some people, and maybe we'd all agree, there's few things worse than moving, and especially when you never plan to move and you're forced out of your housing. Thriving in Place was conceived by Salt Lakers in a 2-year effort that we have never done more public input on a master plan to figure out all of the ways that a city can possibly engage to keep people in housing. And when we can't, how do we help you be in a community you want to be in and that's affordable for you and your family? So since we passed that plan 1 year ago, a lot has happened, and we're here to announce another big step forward in implementing Thriving in Place. That set of steps, I want to just briefly tell you some of the things we've done since the City Council passed Thriving in Place. In the past year, we've created a consumer protection portal. I think that came online in March of this year, and that empowers renters to submit their housing-related concerns in real time directly to Salt Lake City. We've made it easier in the last year and less expensive to build ADUs or accessory dwelling units by improving the affordability and the access to plans in the city. We've also created ordinances like the Community Benefits Policy and the Affordable Housing Incentives. Thank you, City Council, for passing those. And those protect existing affordable housing, they reduce displacement, and they encourage the developments that are coming into the city to include more community benefits. And now today, we are so excited to launch 2 powerful new services. One is the Tenant Resource Center and also the Relocation Assistance Fund for tenants. And because we're in government, we have made an acronym for it that we affectionately call RAFT. Over half of Salt Lakers are renters, right at 51%. And of that population of Salt Lakers, over half of them are rent burdened, which means they're spending more than 30% of their total income on housing costs. And when you're in that situation, which I've been in so many times in my life, you know that you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable to displacement, and that can happen from a myriad of different causes. And that's why both of these programs that we're announcing and launching today officially offer tenant-oriented resources that help support and really actively give tools and money to help people stabilize in their housing. Through the Tenant Resource Center, Salt Lake City renters can get personalized help from a real live person today, 5 days a week, normal business hours, but from 5 different awesome housing navigators. And even if you have concerns and it's not necessarily about displacement, this resource is there for you also. The center has 5 dedicated staff members, and we're calling them Navigators, and they are housed here at CDCU, which is why we're here today. They're experts on renter resources. And again, those resources, though some of them are coming from the city, they span a gambit of different service providers and offices. These resource navigators know all of that. And these very real people, like Dina, who you're going to hear from in just a minute, will serve as navigators that any Salt Laker can call or visit in person. And thanks to this new RAFT program, the Rental Assistance, I already forgot. Rental Assistance, help me out, somebody. Fund for tenants, not finance for tenants. This is an incredible fund that can put about $6,000 into the hands of families of the size. A family of 4, for example, could get about $6,000 in assistance to help them stabilize housing or relocate if necessary. And that displacement, can come from a number of outside sources. It can come from demolishing existing housing, from renovating housing and increasing rent costs, or when income restrictions are removed on units that are currently rent restricted. Now, low-income Salt Lakers who are displaced can apply and get financial help to help with moving expenses, utility costs, security deposits, pet deposits, and other fees that come up with setting up your new home. But the work doesn't end there, because the Tenant Resource Center and the RAFT are really significant milestones in the Thriving in Place plan, but they're part of this much bigger picture. We're going to keep going. And we're celebrating today Thriving in Place at 1 year, which has implemented so many of the tools that the community helped us develop. But we're not done. And we're ambitious because we've lived in these circumstances, and most of Salt Lakers are living as renters with the ambiguity of a growing market. I want to thank everybody who's contributed to this progress. The Community and Neighborhoods team, specifically the Housing Stability team. Thank you so much. And our partners here at CDCU Utah and our new tenant Navigators, thank you for your heartfelt and wise work to help Salt Lakers. I want to introduce an incredible advocate for Salt Lake City residents, especially those on the west side. But as council chair, please welcome Councilmember Victoria Petro.
Thank you, Mayor. On days like this, I'm really excited to stand in front of a group like this, because it is the result of the best of what a governmental action can be. It is the identification of problem that hits the people who are the core of our identity as Salt Lake. It is best practices, best information, it is study, and it is strategy. I am so proud that we get to celebrate this first anniversary with such a meaningful grassroots intervention that helps literally the parents of the kids that go to school with mine, the people who I pass in Smith's every day who are wondering if the name brand cereal is forever out of reach as these prices climb, those people who are Salt Lake City, the people who show up for us day after day after day and are struggling. I am so proud to have collaborated with an administration that prioritizes, in the middle of a growth trajectory that could take our attention to 1 million large interests trying to always compete for our time, to the people who have always been the engine that make the city great. To the people who didn't stop in the midst of a pandemic, didn't stop in the midst of turmoil, and who continue on pioneering beautiful things for us. So we know that 30% of our people are at risk of displacement, and half of our households are cost burdened. The Tenant Resource Center and the Relocation Assistance Fund are part of an entire comprehensive strategy that we look forward to evaluating and implementing in stages called Thriving in Place, which is the result of our public servants doing some of the best data collection during pandemics, relentlessly finding out how best to respond. These are the first steps in a proactive posture to make sure that this growth trajectory is one of actual growth and not one of displacement. We know that eviction and losing housing starts a cascading effect of things that can cripple a family for generations. And we understand the value of intervening at that crisis point to avoid all of those many negatives that could potentially come. So then this Relocation Assistance Fund will help with moving expenses, application fees, deposits, utility connections, customized to the unique needs, because we know no crisis is identical. It is customized and unique as the person experiencing it. As we invest in these pilot programs, we'll look for significant markers of success. We'll build on the strengths, we'll learn lessons, but most importantly, we will keep Salt Lakers the point of a Salt Lake story, the center of a Salt Lake story. We will, as our city enriches, as our state enriches, allow our Salt Lakers the chance to maintain the strongest position to be enriched, moving forward with housing stability. I am proud today to stand in front of you as part of the 8 elected officials who lead possibly the best team in the entire state, if not the region, for addressing these problems, and I look forward to celebrating more successes with you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Councilmember and Mayor. I can't say enough about the city and their vision and what they've done to address these issues. Going back, our partnership with the city started in 1990. We were formed by the Salt Lake City Council as a nonprofit to go into improve Salt Lake City neighborhoods and retain quality affordable housing in the city. Today, our mission is to help our community thrive by empowering people on their path toward financial security, housing stability, and access to affordable housing. Over the past 7 years, we've been expanding our definition of home. We've gone from making home ownership a reality to making housing stability our #1 priority. Drastic housing inflation, stagnant wages not only put home ownership out of reach for so many people, we're now seeing these factors are taking a big effect on our rental friends. We expanded the spectrum of housing to include developing and preserving affordable rental housing. Our housing counseling and education programs now include a robust financial fitness program, and we've recently started counseling specifically for renters. We applaud the city for their vision, foresight, and creating thriving in-place plan. We're excited to work with them again on implementing these 2 new programs, Tenant Resource Center and RAFT, which I've messed up so many times. I'm going to call it the Tenant Relocation Assistance Fund. TRAF is what I call it. But you know, there's some funding out there. Both of them align with the anti-displacement goals of the city, as well as our own mission and commitment to the healthy housing community. So here we stand, the new hub for the Tenant Resource Center. This is our community room where we host classes ranging from financial wellness to starting a journey towards homeownership. We also rent this room out to organizations and partners who provide valuable resources to the community. At the hub, the very hub of the Tenant Resource Center is what we're calling the Community Navigator. This team process will provide anyone reaching out to our organization a personalized, high-touch experience to navigate through the myriad number of resources available. There's such an impressive amount of organizations in our community who are committed to help individuals and families stabilize wherever they call home. Our goal here is to provide one-on-one guidance to connect a client to resources that will help them succeed. At the core, the Community Navigator is a great listener, very resourceful, empathetic to the client's needs, and a champion to the client. Someone's on their side. This is the human element of what they need out there. It's not just a phone call, find a resource. This is actually someone that really wants to help them, their problem, challenges. So out of the hub is our connection, after we have the Community Navigators, our connection to community partners. Our success will rely on collaborating and connecting with valuable community partners. We have a robust list of partners that we've been working with for all our years, but help tenants succeed on many levels. And our goal is to integrate their services, and through our intake process, we provide a client with a warm handoff and following up accordingly. We welcome any other community partners out there that want to reach out and share the resources you have, and we can connect our tenants to them anytime. Finally, there's community outreach. While we will answer the phone calls, we have emails, you can come into our office, we also plan to get into the neighborhoods. We want to meet tenants where they are. From renter resource fairs to community meetings, from hosting office hours in community room centers, to meeting the community, to going into other community rooms of affordable housing projects. We want to bring the resources and classes into the community. About a year ago, we opened our first affordable housing development, Richmond Flats, located in Brickyard area of Sugar House, in the high opportunity area of the city. Here we started to pilot this community navigation model. We've already provided financial classes to the community, and we also had a community meeting with them to say, hey, we're here for any resources that you might need. And we're really impressed with the people that looked us up, said, hey, I need some help finding food. I need some help. What do you know about this? So, that's where we created our very first Community Navigator. Right there, it's a person, someone you can see and talk to, that can listen, cry, do everything. I want to introduce next Dina Powell. She's our housing counselor and our inaugural community navigator. Share some of her experiences navigating. So Dina, come on down.
Hi, everyone. As Todd said, I'm Dina Powell, and I'm a HUD certified housing counselor and now community navigator here at CDCU. They gave me the pleasure of meeting with some of our great tenants at Richmond Flats, and I started working with them. And sorry, I'm a little nervous. Anyway, so I just started working with this one particular family most recently, 3 generations of women, and just sitting down with them, finding out what needs they have, and being able to just help them in literally just navigating them through all of these different resources. It's like, here you go. Here's a great resource for you, or here's a great website for you to look into yourself. And yeah, so we've just kind of been going from there. And it's not only me that's the only HUD certified housing counselor. We have several others and other navigators that are looking forward to the Tenant Resource Center. Thank you.
We have CAN, Community Neighborhoods, and Housing Stability staff here. So are there any questions? And if I can't answer them, I know our CAN folks can step up. Yes, Sage.
So weird to do this. Can you talk to me a little bit about the eligibility for RAFT?
Yeah. I'll start, and then if you guys need to correct me, I have some notes on it. And also, let me mention that our tenant navigators speak Spanish and English, which I meant to mention and I forgot. So we have... Thanks for your patience. I know I have it. Anybody else can chime in if you have it faster than me. Thanks. Rudy.
Can you please tell me your first and last name?
Yeah, Rudy Mathis. I'm with Salt Lake City, Rudiger, or Rudiger, Rudy. Either way, spell it however you want. I'm with Salt Lake City Community and Neighborhoods. So for the RAFT program, tenants need to be at 80% income or 80% AMI or below to qualify. And that's the main qualification for the tenant side of things. There are certain things, the mayor mentioned demolition, substantial rehabilitation or refurbishing of the housing. If they have lost their LIHTC or deed restriction on their housing, and then if there's a change of use of housing, so say a landlord wants to move into the unit to take it off the rental market and turn it into an ownership model, or if it turns to commercial, those are the qualifying events. And then right now, Salt Lake City residents, this is a Salt Lake City program, but other than that.
I have one more to add.
Oh, one more to add.
I found it, which is that the amount that applicants receive depends on the number of people in their household and the number of bedrooms in their unit or in the total unit. And it can go up to 4 times HUD's definition of fair market rent for our metro area. So for example, in this metro area, a displaced family of 4 who is living in a 2-bedroom home is eligible for up to $6,992 for those expenses that we talked about: moving, application fees, and other fees required to secure a new unit, security deposits, deposits for first and last month's rent, pet deposits, utility connections, and or other expenses related to moving and settling in. Good?
One other question with that. Do you know the percentage of people who are 80%?
AMI and below?
Yeah.
We definitely can get that to you, but I don't think off the top of our head we do. Tony?
If the RAFT money runs out quickly, is there a plan for replenishing them?
There will be a budget proposal in the first week of May to the City Council. So you can look for that in the mayor's recommended budget.
What is that pot of money available like now?
I don't know. Rudy, do you know?
Rudy.
I don't remember.
RUEVAR.
Yeah. The amount of money is council allocated $180,000 for that, and so we estimate that that'll be between 15 and like 25 households, depending on size. But we also, like, given the restrictions, it's a fairly narrow pool that we're hoping to help as well.
Also part of the base budget.
Yeah, it's part of the base budget as well. So that will roll over. So, but if we need to expand it, that's why it's a pilot.
And the Navigators that we're introducing today can help in so many ways, like Dina talked about. So for the RAFT fund, yes, it's the money that we've allocated, but the Tenant Navigators, Resource Navigators, are here for anyone in Salt Lake City. Is that accurate? Okay.
Yes.
Anybody else? Hi, Bill.
Hey, just actually curious how the outreach for this is gonna be done. It sounds like a lot of the time it's gonna be at a building where there's some sort of public notice that something's happening.
take it, Rudy.
Is there a plan to get outreach to tenants directly, or how are people gonna find out they're eligible?
Todd or Rudy, do you want to answer that?
Yep. Initially, the city has a website, and they're going to promote, getting onto the website to get their resources for the Tenant Resource Center. As I mentioned earlier, there's going to be a lot of outreach on our part going into other apartment projects that we are friends with, partners, low-income housing projects where we can meet the tenants where they're at. The resource.
I bet, Bill, that your Crossroads Urban Center is definitely one of those organizations that we're going to be asking to help us make connections. And I think that if there are other ideas out in addition to going into housing units and meeting people where they're living, let us know, because we want to make the outreach happen. So we'll use the channels we usually do, but be in touch.
And is it available now?
Yeah, it's open now. Anybody else? Rudy?
Here, I'm just going to chime in. The website that Todd mentioned is www.slc.gov/renters. That's live. That's how you connect, but there's also information that's on there. Tips for renters, not just renters seeking the services of the Navigators or RAFT, but best practices for renting. There's also a bunch of videos on there that Utah Legal Services has put together. So lots of information on there, but also a quick way to connect with the Navigators or to apply for RAFT funding.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Todd and CDCU,
Thank you.
for hosting
Salt
us.
Lake City.